Hundreds of ANC members are protesting, claiming that local government election candidates are being imposed on them. They also say in some areas the list process is fraught with corruption. Let's get a quick update now. We're joined by ANC National Spokesperson Pule Mabe. Mr. Mabe, thank you for being with us. We've been following this for a while, and it seems like the ANC is really finding it difficult to put a lid on these protests, even though you said that there would be a cut-off a few days ago for any disgruntled members. Why do we just see more and more demonstrations?
Well, afternoon to your viewers. It is not entirely factual that the ANC is not able to deal with all of its disputes. The ANC will have met the cut-off deadline of Saturday at 11 a.m. What is now happening is that the Electoral Committee, working together with the SGO, is doing everything else possible, together with the provincial secretaries, to compile and do verification of all of the information that they had. You would recall that the letter written by our Deputy Secretary General to provinces did, in fact, outline the fact that should it happen that there are disputes that stand over even after local government elections, those disputes will still be given the necessary attention. What does this mean, Francis? It means that the process of dealing with disputes in the ANC does not only end when you conclude with the elections. Should it happen, or should you discover upon investigation and adjudication that there are matters that might have required you to resolve in a certain way, you will still go back to these issues. Remember, the life of the ANC does not end with these local government elections. But again, Francis, the size of the African National Congress far surpasses the size of any other political party in this country. We are having to deal with a myriad of issues, concerns, affecting our structures and all of that. But also, Francis, it's important, and we've emphasized this point even when we met with cadres that came here at Lituli House, that it is important that they also subject themselves to democratic processes that the organization shall have designed, and that they must be willing to accept the outcomes of all of those processes. Importantly, it is not only members of the African National Congress that participate in these community gatherings. You also invite the broader community, members of the community, who sometimes, it does happen in other gatherings and reports we have seen, where you will have a community nominating this person who's not necessarily a member of the ANC, but because of the credibility of that person standing in the society and enjoys the support of the community. And at times you find that those of our comrades that attended the meeting who would have emerged through BGM are not quite comfortable because they will have made it through their own BGMs. But they need to understand that the process that we have designed coming out of the 54th National Conference does not necessarily mean that the final arbiter in terms of who becomes a candidate of the African National Congress, it's a BGM. Actually, it is the communities and community members themselves who ultimately decide who must take the lead.
Okay, so we've focused on Lituli House, but there are some pictures on Twitter. Can you verify, please, that ANC officials had to abandon the Western Cape offices today? Apparently, ANC members pitched up there and said that they would occupy those offices.
Well, I haven't really interacted with our comrades in the Western Cape. I'm sure that if there are developments in that part of town, we will be updated. We will be in touch with the relevant comrades that lead the DIP in the Western Cape. And I can tell you, if there's any organizational matter that the ANC leadership needs to pay attention to, they will be attending to that and will be capable to respond from the ground in terms of what has happened to try and quell the tension.
Are you able to say how many complaints there are now that a list was being collated? And you talk about members of the community deciding, but this is all at a branch level. Sometimes these disputes are at a branch level. Is it often a he said, she said, you don't really know what happened in the branch meetings? Are these very hard to verify? Are these disputes hard to deal with for the national leadership?
Well, Francis, we've got a very credible process in terms of how disputes are adjudicated upon through the Electoral Committee led by Comrade Kgalema Motlanthe, former Deputy President. And the work that they have been doing was to make sure that they give each and every one of our members, including community members who participate in the later process, a fair space to participate. Because the process of the ANC are most democratic and participatory in that they allow for a broader voice of society to be able to decide. We will not at this stage be able to deal with an internal issue of the number of disputes. I know that the ANC is an organization of interest, but some of those issues, Francis, are really internal matters of organization.
All right, thank you very much for your time, ANC National Spokesperson Pule Mabe.